Hi, this is David Miller, and I'm here with the second in a series of mini-lectures on Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing. Last time I described the overall pattern of the action in Much Ado, so now let's see how that pattern unfolds across the first 5 scenes of the play. It's in these scenes that the parallel lines of action, the plot and subplot of the play, are both launched. In the first scene, we're introduced to the main couples and to their contrasting styles of wooing. There's Benedick and Beatrice, with their skirmishes of wit and their flirtation and denial, and there's Hero and Claudio, who woo through intermediaries. They don't even speak to each other directly. That's even more indirect than the flirtation and denial between the killer bees. And we'll want to notice while we're looking at this scene that the first of the many disguisings in this play is Don Pedro's seemingly whimsical desire to impersonate Claudio at the masked ball. Why does he do that? The second scene introduces a pattern of error that's going to be very important in the play, based on eavesdropping and misunderstanding or misnoting. This turns out to be the central repeated incident of the play, in both main plot and subplot, and of course it's a pun hidden in plain sight in the play's title. In Shakespearean English, nothing would sound the same as nothing. This scene also introduces the first error, Anthony with his strange news. I would suggest that you pause the video and check Act 1, Scene 2, lines 7 to 12, and just notice for yourself what the inaccuracies are in Anthony's report. And while you're there, notice that Leonardo is going to prepare Hero in case Don Pedro proposes. Just what will Leonardo tell her? When you notice that, you might think ahead a little bit to what Anthony says to Hero in Act 2, Scene 1 at line 42, "Well, niece, I trust you will be ruled by your father." In other words, Hero is expected to accept Don Pedro according to instructions. And in that later scene, is Beatrice urging her to resist? In the third scene, we're introduced to the villains and their motives, and this scene, of course, further extends the pattern of error. We now get the second error, a different, equally garbled version of events, now reported to Don John by Borachio. This is in lines 47 to 52. And once again, I'd suggest you pause, open your book, and look at those lines to make a note for yourself of just what the distortions are. And then, while you're there, once again, notice that Claudio has displaced Don John in Don Pedro's favor. The real coupling scene is not between Claudio and Hero, but between Don Pedro and Claudio. The fourth scene, that's the one we just glanced forward to a moment ago. This scene plays out an overture, a preliminary version in little of the main plot's central action. Don John encourages a misnoting of Hero's interactions with Don Pedro. Here the outcome will be harmless, later it won't be. The result of this preliminary resolution of conflict is betrothal, a contract to get marriage. And like the marriage at the very end of the play, this betrothal involves overcoming misunderstandings. And this resolution also leads to the launching of the subplot, which Don Pedro says will make the time pass until the wedding day. Finally, we come to the fifth scene. This is where the villains launch their plot to derail the betrothal. This is the scene we discussed earlier, where Greenblatt notes the parallel between the main plot and the subplot, the analogy between their deceptions, signaled by the proximity of these two scenes and the repetition of the verb fashion. These parallel deceptions will run in counterpoint throughout the middle part of the play. In the crisis, as we have noted, the main plot and the subplot cross as Beatrice requires Benedick to challenge Claudio. Then this potentially deadly conflict will be diffused by Dogberry and the Watch, who parody the misnotings in the main plot, even as they resolve them. I'd like to end this video with a little exercise to set up class discussion. You'll need to pause the video and get your text out one more time. Look back over Act 2, Scene 1, specifically lines 138 to 181, and work out for yourself what you think is happening in these 43 lines. Then, with your book open, watch the following film clip from the 1993 Brana film version. The question for class is, what changes does Brana make? What cuts? What's he doing with the scene? And what does this suggest about the different experiences of reading and watching one of Shakespeare's plays?
Are not you Signor Benedict?
You know me well. I am he.
Signor, you are very near my brother in his love. He is enamored on Hero. I pray you, dissuade him from her. She is no equal for his birth.
How know you he loves her?
I heard him swear his affection.
So did I too. And he swore he would marry her tonight.
Come, let us to the banquet.
Thus answer I in name of Benedict. But hear these ill news with the ears of Claudio. 'Tis certain so. The prince woos for himself. Friendship is constant in all other things, save in the office and affairs of love. This is an accident of hourly proof, which I mistrusted not. Farewell, therefore, Hero.
Count Claudio!
Yea, the same.
Come, will you go with me?
Whither?
About your own business. The prince hath got your hero.
I wish him joy of her.
Well, did you think that the prince would have served you thus?
I pray you leave him.
Alas, poor hurt fowl.